you literally came in and it like caught, like the whole thing caught flames and the fire alarm went off and I just had to open every door and window in my house.
Okay, I'm glad you're okay.
I screamed for my roommate and he ran downstairs. He's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I don't know what to do." So I should have known it was a fire hazard. I don't even know what to say right now.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm glad you're okay.
Oh my God. God, that's the craziest thing. Cause I'm always like, get really calm and collected before interviews, maybe don't set the house on fire. And here we are. Okay. Anyways, thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited. And I'm so happy we were able to kind of like figure out both of our schedules and like line something up. I can only imagine how crazy like summer has been for you.
Summer, well, it's snowing now, so it just feels like summer's coming. Gone, but yeah, summer was pretty crazy, and I have to apologize too. I know I haven't been super responsive just with the season, and it's been it was a crazy season. I'm glad that we're able to enjoy the off season, but I am very excited for next season. I never get like this. I'm usually like pretty chill about whatever, win or lose, or whatever happens, but this year, like, I've been screaming at the TV, and sorry, I'm sure you can see Paxton in the back.
I love it.
But yeah, I've been super into it this year, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, my stress levels have been through the roof.
Oh God, yeah. I had to tell myself that it was okay that they didn't win this year, and the reason was I need to be in that stadium when they win. And I'm like, I don't want to be on the outside where like I'm like, so it's okay. It's not our year. We'll wait next year.
Absolutely. Sorry, wait next year. I've got an intruder. Oh my gosh, guys. Actually, you'll see later. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Dog just totally intruded, just crashed the party, and then of course the kids and everyone came after that. So.
I love it. And I'm so excited to have you here. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yes. Okay. So tell me, did you always want to be a mom?
Yeah. I think I always kind of wanted the, husband, wife, house, and regular, like, 2 jobs, come home, hang out with the kids on the weekends kind of thing for myself. Yeah.
Okay. So I am a sucker for a love story. I am. So I gotta know, because it involves in the whole, circle of you becoming a millennial mom. How did you and Tim meet?
Tim and I met, I was at the University of Alabama. That's where I did undergrad. And that school is in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which is Tim's hometown. So I used to work at like a local clothing store in Tuscaloosa, and I happened to work with his sister, and I worked with her for years. And then after I stopped working there, maybe a year later, Tim and I connected. He was already drafted at the time, but he just finished like rookie ball. So he was playing for the Birmingham Barons at the time. He was actually in the off season, and he spent off season in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and we had mutual friends. So we would always, our friends used to always try to set us up, and we would always like miss each other. So if we were at a party, Tim might have been, when I was getting there, I would hear, oh, Tim just left. So it's just funny. We had never actually met each other, but our friends had always like tried to set us up, and then we finally crossed paths at a tailgate at the University of Alabama, Roll Tide. And we just kind of clicked, and we hung out, and yeah.
Did you know?
Did I know? I kind of knew. Yeah, I think I did know. I think the first time that we hung out, I was like, I don't know if, I don't know if it was, a good time to hang out, but he was pretty persistent, and we ended up hanging out, and that we talked for until sunup, literally. We literally talked until sunup, and it was like, it's kind of awkward because it's like, wow, it's the next day, and you know, it's our first time hanging out, and you technically like stayed the night, you know. So I think, yeah, I think I knew, and he's told me too, like just that, you know, just having that conversation was just kind of cool for him. He's not much of a talker. So just the fact that we were able to have like a full conversation like that on our first time hanging out, which was, yeah, it was just kind of interesting.
I love
Guess I knew.
that. I think it's great. I think it's great. You both seem like you're each other's like biggest supporters and biggest cheerleaders. And I think that, you know, for the having like known you through the baseball world when I used to nanny, like I could see it. How has his support motivated you?
Yeah, so I started out right after college. He like leaving college and entering the adult world. He was super supportive. I was terrified. I'm like, you know, I was moving to a new city. I was accepting my first big girl job, and I had so much anxiety about it, but it was nice because he had been drafted. I graduated college in 2015. He'd gotten drafted in 2013. So for 2 years, he'd been adulting, right? So, you know, it was nice to kind of have him there as a support system, just entering the adult world. And then after, you know, a year later, I started my master's program, and now I'm in my PhD program. And after my master's program, I figured, you know what, I've had enough school. But then Tim got called to the major leagues, and, you know, I just think I was inspired, to be honest. Like, my husband is a major league baseball player. Why can't I be, you know, at the highest level of my profession? So I think, you know, there's been so many late nights and all-nighters, or, you know, can you watch the kids while I take this test? And he's been super supportive. You know, it's really nice.
I love that. How old were you when you were pregnant with Peyton?
I was 22.
Okay, so 22, still very young. Walk me through what I imagine was like an absolute roller coaster of emotions of finding out the news.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So Tim, and again, Tim was in the minor leagues. He was in Birmingham. He was still in Birmingham when we found out we were pregnant with Peyton, actually. I was actually starting my big girl job, my first big girl job, entering adult world. And we were actually on a road, on an away game. We were on a road trip. So at the time in the minor leagues, the hotels aren't that great. And, you know, you're busing, he's busing, I'm driving to meet whatever, like, random city he's in. And we were, I'm sorry, my dog.
It's okay. I love it. It's so cute. I love their little stripes.
Tim dresses them. Sorry.
Oh my God, I love it.
But yeah, pain was definitely unexpected. But we were so excited. We were so excited just that, you know, here we were like kids at the time, pretty much, but we loved each other so much. And it was like, we literally created a human. Like, this is the coolest thing. So we were definitely scared, just about the changes to come. But I think we were very excited at the same time to like step into this whole new, I don't know, energy. And I remember I was pregnant with Payne at the time, but we didn't know. And I remember telling Tim, like, I just felt like our life is really about to change. Like, some kind of way, I don't know, but I just had a feeling, I had this inkling. And lo and behold, we were pregnant with Peyton Kinsley.
That is crazy. I swear, like, I don't know if it's like a mother's intuition or like a woman's intuition. There are just certain things, you know, and logic gets thrown like right out the window.
Yeah, exactly.
It really does. So now, Millennial Mom, tell me how that idea came to life.
Yeah, so I have been a writer, since I was a kid. I've kept little journals, I've kept, booklets of poetry or creative pieces or personal writings, but I realized I have only ever shared my writing with my professors in school, right? So I think it was a really good opportunity for me to tap into my passion. I had stopped writing for maybe a year. And at the beginning of 2020, I picked up my journal again and I started journaling, I started writing. And, at the same time, I'm like, well, maybe I should start a blog. Maybe I should put my writing out more. And I just tapped into my passions. I'm like, what can I write about? Well, the thing I get the most questions about, I'm always getting questions about, parenting or, what brand clothes are you using? Or, what do you suggest for a stroller or car seat? I get so many questions to my social media account. And I also get a lot of feedback on my girls or my family in general. So I just figured I could share my experience, right? I started off as a mom and I had so many different influences. A lot of my influences were older. Again, I was a young mom. I was early 20s when we got pregnant with Peyton, and not many of my friends were having kids or, having families in general. So I think a lot of the advice I took were from older generations. And I think it took a couple of years for me to realize, like, there's a way that I can be myself and still be a mom. I can still have fun, or I can still, have cater to me, and still care for an entire human being. So I think Millennial Mom came about just wanting to show young moms that you can totally be the best mom in the world, but you can still totally be your best self as well.
I love that. I'm not a mom. I'm not even dating anyone, but I have many cousins, and it's kind of crazy. So I'm Irish, and we went from having like no great grandchildren or great great grandchildren, however it is, to having, God, what is it, like 18 in 5 years? Yeah. So it was, and at the time, I think I was 20, 21 when everyone started having kids. And then I started seeing this, I don't want to say change, but it was just a different side of a lot of my cousins or their significant others that I just never seen before. But I think the one thing that I saw that was beautiful was, or even maybe for some of them, it was a little different. Like some of them really stayed, they were like, no, I'm still me and I can still raise you and I'm still going to be your mom. And then maybe there were some, and even, friends that I knew who had like lost a little bit of themselves, or you're still trying to figure out like who you are while your main priority is this little human being who like needs you and needs you to really take care of them. So honestly, I just remember when you said, you're like, I'm still going to be me. And I was like, yeah, you can still be you and do this. And I think that's just, I feel like it was a taboo maybe with our parents' generation. But I just love the message that's you're sending to people, like, no, still be you. Because being yourself is going to make your kids better.
Yeah, I think it's also necessary. I think it's definitely, when you have a kid, it's definitely mother's nature and mother's intuition to 110% care for your little, right? Like that is 100%, like, this is my new role. When you become a mom, you become a mom. You can't, there's no, there's your mom. That's that. You have a little person that you have to care for. You're totally responsible for this kid. And I think when I first had Peyton, I was so focused on trying to be a good mom that I think and a good wife too. You know, at the time, Tim had just gotten not drafted, he'd just gotten called up. Peyton was just a baby, and shoot, like we were, you know, I was trying to navigate how can I be the best parent that I can be, but also be, you know, the best wife that I can be. Like my husband needs me, my kid needs me, and then I had my own profession going. So I think I did dedicate a lot of myself to making sure home was okay, as well as my kid. So making sure my husband's good and making sure my kids are good. And I think I did honestly drown out a little bit of, or a lot of, what matters to Bria, what matters to me, what matters, you know, what are my passions aside from marriage and aside from motherhood. And I just remember thinking, you know, or just wondering, like, what is my identity? You know, what do I look like? You know, it'd been so long. I've been a mom for so long. I've been a wife for so long. What does it look like? What do I look like outside of marriage and outside of motherhood? And I think stepping into that has been the best thing for me, just because, you know, we can't be, as mothers, we can't give our kids 100% if we're not feeling 100%. And I think part of understanding who you are fully is just really tapping into your identity and tapping into your purpose. So.
And you said, you actually led into my next question, which you kind of answered, but I want to read what you wrote. And this is honestly, like, it struck a chord in me. You said, when I had my first child, I tried so hard to measure up to the standards of what I thought motherhood was supposed to look like. I mean, really, what did that mean for me? Did it mean giving up parts of my passion? Did it mean giving up my girls' nights or self-care days? Did it mean a change in wardrobe? Would I need to dress a certain way, you know, like a mom? Was personal identity even still a thing? And it seems like your evolution of answering all of those questions was almost like thinking that this had to be you, and then you're like, no.
Yeah, I totally could feel, you know, even just for holidays, you know, specifically this time of year is always busy for me as a mom, because I'm like, okay, we've got the Christmas card, we've got Halloween, we've got costumes, we've got Thanksgiving, travel plans, you know, things, Halloween, or, you know, the holidays are just so busy. So I just remember the holidays specifically, I'm looking at my sister-in-law, what kinds of things are they doing as a, you know, my own sister who's got children of her own and a husband, like, you know, what kinds of things do I see them do that, you know, I should probably emulate, that will probably make me look like a good mom. But, you know, in having that mindset, we've developed our own family traditions, right? Or even just like, you know, dressing a certain way, or like a wardrobe. You know, I thought of like, jeans, the mom jeans and the mom sweater, you know, like this is the new me, but it's like I can still be comfortable in my bodysuit and like high waist jeans or whatever, you know, because, you know, I want to teach my girls that it's okay to be confident in yourself. As long as you're doing a damn good job, it's okay for you to be you. And I think that's a millennial mindset as well. Even, you know, millennials in the workplace, we are doing amazing work in the workplace, and we're innovating. You know, we're not having to show up in suit and tie, or, you know, the typical, I'm going to the office with my briefcase. Like, millennials are turning out the workplace. We're turning out everything that we've got our hands on. And I think motherhood is no different from that.
I love that. What has been maybe the hardest part about motherhood so far?
I think the hardest part so far has just been, at the end of the day, I think a lot of things fall back on mom, just naturally, you know what I mean? Like there will be, my husband is like so supportive and is so willing to like do whatever and help out in any way, or like take on any tasks that we need. But I think, and I love it, it's a, you know, it's a blessing, but I think sometimes it can get overwhelming that, the first person that the kids think to ask for dinner. Mom, I'm hungry. And I'm always like, Dad is literally sitting on the couch scrolling on his phone. Like, you walked right past Dad to come to Mom to ask for a snack.
Like Dad
but
can
I
get the
think,
snack.
yeah, right.
Dad can get the snack.
Exactly. But I think at the end of the day, like that can be difficult, but also it's rewarding to know, like, when the kids think of care or, nurturing or things like that, mom is the first thought. I think another difficult thing, or I think that's been difficult with motherhood, has been just adjusting to schedules. And, when we had Peyton, we were on a totally different schedule from when we had Peyton and Paxton. And even during the season, our schedule is a lot different from the off season. But I think just kind of figuring out what's working for the household and creating and sticking to a schedule that works for everyone, I think that has been challenging, but doable, necessary, 100%.
Awesome. So, what's the community that you are hoping to create with millennial moms? Like, what are the conversations that you really want to bring to the table for like moms now and future moms to know?
Yeah, I want to create a community of moms who are open. I think that millennials in general, we're open, right? We're always sharing where we got whatever product, or we're tagging the brands for other people to see or check out. So I think creating a community for moms to get suggestions on products, or vent, or get advice on things like teething, breastfeeding, or, whatever, just a community of millennial moms, just to learn from each other and to grow with each other. That's the goal.
I love it. Okay, so we're going to pivot a little bit. I want to talk about your passion. You're a great writer. And I loved watching it. So like, where you said you journaled a lot as a kid, when did you maybe like find your voice?
I think I was in 10th grade when I found my voice. I've always been heavy into like literature, language arts, creative writing, word choice, and things like that. And I think in 10th grade, I had a teacher, and to this day I credit, my wanting to be an English teacher and this obsession that I have with going to school for English. Like, I credit that to my 10th grade honors English teacher. I thought I was a great writer. I thought, I get A's on my papers, and, all of my papers make sense. But I think he challenged me to find my voice and to really identify, the opinionated, conversational writer that I am. I think he challenged my mindset of, what I thought a writer was supposed to be. And I think he kind of welcomed my own, me bringing my own voice into what I'm actually putting on paper.
Was there anything that he said that like has stuck with you to this day?
Nothing specifically. I just remember going into writing a paper with what I thought my teacher would want to read. And I remember getting my papers back, writing everywhere, like, be you. Is this something you would really say? He just really always stayed on me, and, I would turn in a great paper, but I love the fact that he took the time to get to know me as a student and really encouraged me to bring that to my writing.
I had a 10th grade English teacher too. She was my homeroom teacher, Miss Chirillo. And has probably been one of my favorite teachers. So it's funny that like you say like your 10th grade English teacher, because that was mine. And I remember she said something to me that really had nothing to do with like writing, but it has still stuck with me to this day. She was this like older woman. She was Irish. She married an Italian, and it was like such a big controversy back then. I remember her saying this, and she's like, ladies, love, it's a lot of pain. It's a lot of heartbreak. It's a lot of tears, but it's all worth it in the end, I promise. And that has like stuck with me for years. And I don't know, like, I just think English teachers just have like they view the world in a way, and they understand words in a way and how powerful they are. And they know how to convey that to young minds, which is not an easy thing to do.
Yes, I agree.
So you have your master's currently in education. You are getting your PhD in education.
I am.
I can't even imagine the schooling for that one. But why was this so important for you to do?
Yeah, so I've always kind of just known I'm going to get my master's in English and education. That was something that I knew I was going to do when going into undergrad. Because for me, like I'm a first generation college student. So college in general was like, wow, but my master's was like, okay, wow. So I never saw, for myself, I never saw past, me going past my master's. But I mentioned earlier, man, like Tim and just his hard work and him just like always working and like never satisfied and just like with what he's already done and just continuing to work harder. I think that kind of pushed me to go back and get my PhD. I'm like, okay, this is like, how will I feel if this is like the last thing that would like get, you know what I mean? Like this is probably like the highest degree that I could get in my field of work. So I'm like, why not go for it? Like Tim wasn't satisfied in AAA, or he wasn't satisfied his rookie year. Every year he's pushing to get better. So, I'm like, why can't I be the major league of higher education? So I think just seeing him work so hard and achieving his dream has really just kind of pushed me to, we're all going to be just setting that standard for our kids. Dad's a major league baseball player, mom's a doctor of education, it's just kind of setting that standard of excellence for our kids.
I love that. And they're going to know that like truly anything is possible as long as you set your mind to it. So when you finally, how much longer do you have with your PhD?
I have about a year and a half. So I'm entering my second year of the program. It's a 3-year program. And yeah, so I'm just entering the research. I'm just getting my feet wet with the research phases.
All right. So when you finally accomplish this next goal of yours, what are your like wants and desires for this when you're done?
So I would really like to, I'm still trying to make concrete exactly what I'm wanting to defend. But I know that I want it to tie in with the work that we do with our community organization. We focus on youth that are affected by violence, specifically in the south side of Chicago, as well as Tim's hometown in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So I want to get more involved with programming, and I really also would be interested to learn more and get a little more well-versed on policy. So those are just some of my hopes. I'm teaching right now at a medical institute. I'm teaching English as an online instructor. So just also getting a little practice with teaching the adult learner. That's been fun. I would be interested in pursuing that a little bit more when my program is complete as well.
So you and Tim started the League of Leaders, correct? Is that right? And I love what, I've lived on the South Side my whole life. And I think you see it's hard. I get so heartbroken because there's such a bad stereotype of the South Side of Chicago. and I don't think people see the heartbeat of the South Side of Chicago, which is um, the beautiful, hardworking, caring human beings that make this city what it is. Like there was this saying that like, the South Side built Chicago, but the North Side resides in it. And I think that that's so true. But I, like, what was it about doing this, not only in Chicago, but in his hometown that made you guys really want to like dive into this community and make things better?
Yeah, so before we started the organization, I was teaching at a Title I school in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so very similar demographics to what we see on the South Side a lot of the time, especially with the specific group of kids that we work with. I remember being in my class and every day on my planning period, looking up what, things that I could do more. How can I use my degree to make more of an impact, specifically with at-risk youth? At the time, it was just an idea. And then Tim's best friend, Brandon, was murdered in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. He was helping out a guy who had been beat up pretty bad after a graduation celebration for his best friend. So he was just kind of like tending to the guy, and then the shooter came up and shot him several times, and he died. And that was Tim's best friend. That was Peyton's godfather. And so literally in that moment when we got the news, we literally both just said like, well, we know exactly what we want to do at this point. We knew we wanted to start a nonprofit, but when that happened, it was just like a light had turned on for us. It was just perfect with Tim being, on the South Side, and just the history of gun violence. It aligned perfectly. And then we made the decision to make to become permanent residents of Illinois. And so just even, becoming residents and starting our foundation, we feel that certain responsibility to make an impact in any way that we can, to use our platforms to try and, make whatever impact we can, specifically in those communities that need it the most.
What would you want to say to, like kids and even young adults on the South Side, and maybe even, back home in Tuscaloosa? Like what would you want them to know?
Yeah, I would want them to know that anything is possible. And I'm sure Tim too. Tim's story with how he made it to the major leagues is, it's remarkable. I would say that you never know how close you are. You never know, when your one chance is. You never know. And to just always be aware of that, and to always be hopeful, and to always, take advantage, find opportunity anywhere that you can. I think that, Tim is one of the only African-American players in the clubhouse. And so I think every time we go out and we see kids and we speak to kids, it's very important for us to, instead of just sending a check to help out, to also show up and show face and make connections and meet with kids. Like whenever we meet with, whether it's kids or teenagers or graduates or whatever, Tim likes to have maybe 30 minutes, just one-on-one, just him and whoever we're meeting with, so that they can talk about, not the drive-by shooting in the neighborhood that is playing over and over on the news, but to just talk about regular things, cars, music. These kids they live this every day. So when we come into their space and we're like, whether we're doing free haircuts or giving school supplies or whatever, when we come into their space, we want to show them that there's more than, the things that you're seeing every day in your neighborhoods. There's more to life. There's more out there, and you can be part of that change. You can be a leader of your community, so because we strongly believe that it starts with the kids, so if we're building leadership qualities in kids, that's what is to come, in the years to come as these communities continue to grow. So I think that is the one thing that we really try to hone in on. There's opportunity out there. There's something outside of your environment that could totally impact you if you just, look for it, if you just grab the hand that's trying to help you.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I've from the South Side. I've lived here my whole life, except for like 2 years of college. I went elsewhere. And I'm a diehard sports fan. I love the White Sox. That's my team. That's my ball. That's my backyard. And I always say Chicago is an interesting town to play in as an athlete, because you really have to like embody the qualities of the city that you represent. And some guys get it and some guys don't. And I've never seen a player come in and like so seamlessly be adopted by the South Side of Chicago, like your husband, like no bullshit. And it's so interesting. Cause I was like, he's from here. Like you don't find that, you really don't like. And so I love what he's doing. I love what you are both doing. I think it's just absolutely amazing. And I, keep up the good work, and everyone who is listening or watching, I will put in the show notes about League of Leaders, so you guys can head on over there. So I want to ask one more question before we get into a fun game of rapid fire, which is my favorite part of the evening. And that is about your daughters. And I would love to know what your daughters have taught you about life and about yourself.
Oh gosh. So Peyton and Paxton, I feel like, have taught me two very separate lessons, as they are but two very different beings. Peyton is definitely our sweet child. She's the oldest. She's 4 now. She is very affirming. It's like, this kid, I have no idea. She is like the sweetest. So Peyton definitely teaches me. She's that voice in the back of my head that's like, you're a badass mom. Okay. Like, she will tell me randomly, I love you, Mom. Or she'll randomly tell me, you're such a good mommy. And I'm like, where's the hidden camera? Like, what are you doing? And how do you know that this is what I need to hear right now? It's like she knows that I need to hear these things. So, and I can say that she plays that role for all of us in the house. Like, she loves to let her sister know, oh, you look so pretty today. Or she'll tell Tim, like, Dad, you did so good. We saw the catch, or whatever. She's just super affirming. So I think Peyton she's taught me that to give myself grace, when it feels like the house is on fire, it's fine. So, but Paxton, she is definitely, she's our firecracker is what I say. She's a little more, straight to the point. She wants what she wants, and with her, it's kind of like you get what you get. And so I think that Paxton has kind of just taught me to enjoy life a little bit more and to just really seize the moment. She's very silly. She's literally, we joke all the time. Peyton is just like me. She's like extra, and she's gonna talk to everyone. And Paxton is exactly like Tim. She's very fun to be around. She's very silly, but she's very reserved, and she's, she wants what she wants, and it is what it is with her. So yeah, they've taught me two very different lessons in life. God love them.
Gotta love them. Okay, and then I forgot I had one more. And this was also about something you wrote. And one thing my mother gracefully beat into my head as a child was that patience is a virtue. And she's probably been saying it to me since before I could even talk, before I could comprehend sentences. And again, I love what you wrote about your journey of patience. And you said it's about being patient with yourself too. It's about knowing that this is a lifelong journey and that this journey will be full of self-evolution. It's about being kind to yourself along the journey, allowing yourself to make mistakes and to feel however you need to feel while giving yourself grace. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Do you think when you had your kids, patience became different compared to pre-kids?
Yes, of course. My personality is so, I need to be in control. I need to, I need to see things going in the right direction. If they're not, I need to be able to shift things and get them there. But I think with kids, literally that goes out of the window, especially when they're so young. I think my kids have taught me patience in the sense of I have to give myself grace. There have been times I'll get up and I'll make a wonderful breakfast for Peyton, I'll spend so much time on it and she'll just be like, I'd rather have cereal, those little things are just things that you can't control. There are some things that you will never be able to schedule, or things happen, especially with motherhood. You won't always get it right. You won't always know exactly what your kid needs or what to do in the situation, but you have to give yourself grace. You have to realize that there's no perfect formula. You just have to do what works for you and what keeps your head above water.
Keeping your head above water. Okay, so we're going to play a fun, kind of ridiculous rapid fire questions. So just answer them as best as you can. What would people be surprised to know about you?
Oh, geez. I actually was not a baseball fan.
Stop.
Prior to meeting Tim, I was never a baseball. I'd never been to a baseball game ever in my life. Ever.
Wow.
Nothing. 3 strikes, 4 balls. That's it. That's all I knew. I'm a pro now. I got this.
And now it's like you live at a baseball stadium.
Yes, I live there, literally.
Oh, God works in really funny ways sometimes, man. What is the kindest thing a stranger has done for you?
Paid for my gas. I was in college and I was at the gas station, and obviously as a college student, that's not the most exciting thing you want to spend your money on.
Yeah.
So I was, getting ready to go in and pay for my gas, and someone had paid for it, and I was just like, wow, I'll never forget that. I will never forget that.
Always pay it forward. So there's this saying that kids say the darnest things. What has been the darnest things your daughters have said to you?
Peyton is just undefeated. Like, that is the one that she will say anything, and literally Tim and I will just look at each other sometimes and laugh. But I think the one thing that'll always stick with me is when I was pregnant with Paxton. I was in denial. I had no idea. I had not taken a pregnancy test at all. Peyton, every morning, she knew. She would wake up and she'd point to my stomach and she'd say, is there a baby? Every morning, before I even said anything about being pregnant or thought about being pregnant, every morning she just knew. And she was only 2 at the time.
Little, extremely intuitive child you have on your hands. Okay, so when you are getting ready for girls' night, and you're doing your hair and you're doing your makeup and you're laying out your outfit, what is the go-to song that must play on your playlist?
Oh my gosh. I will say my go-to song on my playlist right now would have to be Jobs by City Girls.
Jobs by City. Okay. In honor of Halloween happening this week, what was the first scary movie you ever watched?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I want to say the first one that's like, okay, this is crazy and scary. The Bride of Chucky.
Okay, that's mine too. I hated it.
It's so weird.
I had nightmares.
Yes, me too.
I had a dream the night I watched it that Chucky was chasing me around my kitchen counter with a knife, and I fell down and I woke up dripping sweat at like a 12-year-old, maybe not 12, like a 10-year-old's birthday party, and I was sweating at the sleepover.
Oh
It's
my gosh.
it scarred me for life, and I don't think I've been able to watch scary movies since.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about my kids watching that series.
Yeah, no, that's a weird one. Definitely a weird one. What is your go-to drink when you're at a bar?
Margarita or actually at a bar, I'm sorry, a Patron and pineapple,
Ooh,
a splash of Red Bull.
yum. Stay up. So as you and Tim now living in Chicago for as long as you have, I have this saying that like Chicagoans always got a guy. We always have someone. So I would like to know what's the craziest guy that you have. And I'll give you my example, which maybe might help yours. I have a butcher guy who comes to my house, cuts the meat, puts it straight in the fridge. And I have a detox guy. Well, it's a detox gal who detoxes my feet.
Okay. Ooh. This is a tough one.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've got a guy.
Someone you need for something, whether it's like, I don't know, I'm looking around my house trying to think, I don't know, a fireman, to set out the fire I almost caused in my house earlier before we started talking.
Well, okay. I don't have a guy. Tim's got a guy then.
Okay.
We get, as you can see, we get several packages. Amazon comes like daily. But literally our dining room is always like filled with boxes. So Tim is always looking for the box guy to come and like get our boxes. He's like, I don't care where you put them. I don't care where you deck them off. Like these have got to go. So we've always got a guy that's going to come and get the millions of packaging that we have left over.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Do you know what he does with them? Does he just keep them for like himself or?
Tim is like found like dumpsters. Okay, I hope no one's, I hope this is like not, this is probably not okay, but Tim has found several dumpsters in the neighborhood where like, I'm pretty sure they just like sneak and like dump all of the boxes and like scatter as soon as they're done. Like, yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. Gotta do
So
what you gotta do.
yeah, you do what you gotta do, and you got a box guy who takes care of the boxes you don't need. That's a great guy to have. Okay, what is an odd or weird talent that you have?
Oh gosh. I can tumble.
You can tumble.
I was a cheerleader in high school, actually all of my life. I haven't cheered since my senior year of high school, but I can tumble. I can do back handsprings. I can do all kinds of tumbling tricks. My daughter, my Peyton, who's 4, is so heavy into gymnastics right now. We can't get her to stop like tumbling off of the couches. So she's always trying to like get me to like stunt with her and like do all kinds of like tumbling things. She wants me to be her little coach. Sometimes we solicit Tim to like be the spot.
I love it. Wait, so were you able to do like backflips and stuff like that?
Yeah. So
Oh
like
my God.
I cheered competitively, so.
Wow. What was like the, I don't know the cheer world. So what was the like highest honor, like place you ever went to go cheer?
Yeah, so I grew up in Virginia Beach. So the highest that we made it was state. We made it 6 in the state. So we went to Richmond, Virginia.
Wow. Congratulations. Okay. What is the best piece of advice someone has given you?
To be still. To just sometimes be still. If there's something that's giving me great anxiety or something that it's just, I'm very triggered in the moment, the best advice that I've received in that moment is to just be still and just take a second, give myself grace, be patient, and just wait. That's always worked out for the better for me.
Be still, And have grace.
Yes.
I love it. Who should my next guest be?
Oh, geez. Your next guest should be Tim? I don't know.
I would love that. We'll talk his crazy experiences of fatherhood, his box guy, and what next season looks like. I would adore that. Okay, so this is a question that I've been asking people. And at first I didn't think it was still relevant, but I think it's still relevant because we are still living in crazy times. And what's even crazier to think about is this whole pandemic started 8 months ago, which is nuts. So what have you learned the most about yourself since the pandemic began?
I have learned a lot about what works for me. I've learned a lot about structure for myself. Even, just having COVID took away a lot of our daily routines that we'd already set in play. So just being in the house with each other was very interesting. So, just still learning to have a closer relationship and to be more present with our children, or to even, do things together as a family in the house. It's been challenging, but we've gotten creative with it. And I think we have all kind of learned a lot about each other, just being in the house together in these 8 months. It's been nice, to be honest. COVID hasn't been nice at all, but just being able to have a little bit of extra time with the family, especially with Tim, has been nice, to be honest.
Love that. All right. So even though we're not drinking, we always end on a toast. So I'm drinking coffee today because
I already had my cup.
I'm like a coffee addict. It's kind of embarrassing. I don't even want to count how many cups I drink in a day. I probably have a problem. But cheers to raising strong and beautiful children while staying true to who you are.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers to that.